To talk about my vocation story really would have to be give you a story of my whole life long, and I'm not going to do that because I think a vocation is something that grows and develops at different stages in one's life. But I consider myself a lifer in the sense that as long as I can remember, I wanted to be a priest, and I really didn't have any deep, profound spiritual reason why I wanted to do that. I think it was I was attracted to doing stuff that Father did in the parish. And so even when I was in the earliest grades of grade school, I told my little girlfriend that she could be my housekeeper when I was a priest. When I was in 8th grade, I made my decision. I wanted to go to a minor seminary. My pastor and the assistant in the parish didn't really believe in minor seminaries. And my mother, in fact, sent me to the office of the assistant pastor thinking he could talk me out of it because she wasn't too keen on me going away from home at 14. But I started writing to a couple religious orders. I had no desire to be a diocesan priest. I hadn't anything against them, but it didn't interest me. An Oblate of Mary Immaculate came and talked to us in our 8th grade classroom. Father Valentine Getz, a tremendous man, great in the history of St. Henry's and of Carthage, our other minor seminary. And when I think of it, why did I want to join the Oblates? Because I bonded with them. I went to what they called Workshop Week down at our minor seminary in Carthage, Missouri in the summer after my 8th grade, and they had these Oblate scholastics who were there, and they were wonderful men. They became wonderful priests. Most of them are deceased now, but I would say the reason I became an Oblate is because I liked them and I bonded with them. As far as deepening my idea of the Oblate charism and the Oblate mission, that came later on in life. But I wanted to be one of these Oblates of Mary Immaculate. I was accepted into Our Lady of the Ozarks in Carthage, Missouri for my 9th grade, and for whatever reason, and I don't even remember totally what the reason was, I decided not to go. And I went to a Catholic high school in Omaha for 1 year, and I really was very unhappy there. And it was obvious to me that that's not where I needed to be. So I was surprised. It was May of my freshman year, and I was at Tuesday evening devotion in my parish. We had Our Lady of Perpetual Help. And my little sister came over to church and found me and said, "There's a priest that called you and is going to call you back later on the phone, an Oblate from Carthage." And it was Father Al Swobeny, who was another great figure in my vocation story. And the Oblates were still interested in me, and so I was ready to go. I would have packed up that same day and gone, but the next fall in September, I did enter as a sophomore in high school at Our Lady of the Ozarks in Carthage, Missouri, and started my journey toward where I am now. And so in 1958, I finished junior college and moved on to the Oblate Novitiate in Godfrey, Illinois, which was an intense year of spiritual preparation. They always told us ahead of time it'll be the happiest year of your life. Well, frankly, I kept waiting, when is this going to begin? But I got through novitiate. I pronounced my first vows as an Oblate on August 15th, 1959, and assumed that I was going to go to our scholasticate in Pass Christian, Mississippi. In fact, I did go there. A few days before first vows, Father Figge, the novice master, asked me if I was interested in studying in Rome. And I told him I was, and then he said, "Well, nobody's going to Rome this year." So I just accepted that and went down to Mississippi, got there on a Monday. On the following Friday, the superior, Father Mike Dice, came into the dining room and rang the bell and said that I and another scholastic were going to leave for Rome that night. Well, it didn't mean we were going to go to Rome that night, but we were going to go home and visit our family and take a ship to Italy, where we would be for 7 years. We were going to be there without visiting our families unless they came to see us. And I could accept that. That was just part of the program. Had I stayed in Mississippi, it was possible that I would never have gotten home for 6 years. But anyway, that for me was one of the most life-changing events in my life, that I went to Rome, took a ship, it was called a Mediterranean cruise on the ocean for 9 days. I was seasick for 7 of them, arrived in Naples and got culture shock, but it was a good thing for me because I feel that I am the oblate that I am today, the priest that I am today, the man that I am today, very much because of the experiences that I had at the Oblates International Scholasticate. They took us to Rome overnight, and then because the community was still in a little village called Roviano, about 30 miles east of Rome in the mountains where we had our summer house, we went up there, and that was not a good experience. First of all, at the end of September, it's cold, it's damp. They didn't have room for us, so a couple of us were actually sleeping in what was also used as the barber shop. The running water meant that you got your water in a basin and ran down the hall with it to wash up in the morning. Showers were cold. I was homesick, and so I was really eager to get out of there and go down to Rome. Our scholasticate in Rome at the time, we had 108 people, students in the community that first year. We were crowded. It was noisy. We were over a noisy street. But I got into the whole thing of studying. Being in an international community was so important to me that sometimes those of us from the United States kind of are, well, this is typical of any country, I think, not just the United States. We get focused on our own milieu and our own country, and people were being critical of the United States. I couldn't believe that. Why would they possibly say those things? And people's ideas of the church, of community, all those things were different, and it was stretching me a lot. But I think what stretched me the most in a very positive sense, besides living with people from 18 different cultures, was our summer times. I mentioned that I was not happy at our summer house that first few days that I was there, but after a year in Rome, after a year of studies, after all the noise, Roviano became heaven for me, and I looked forward to going there. We were perched above a beautiful valley. We had these beautiful, this beautiful scenery, and more importantly, I got involved in our community ministry or apostolate with the youth of this village, and they taught me so much, not formally, but just with their openness to me, their friendship with me, and it caused me to see that not everybody is going to live just exactly like I grew up. It was a cultural experience that I carry with me today, and the Oblates put on Olympics. The Olympics were in Rome in the early 60s, and so we had Olympics for the kids, and they still talk about that today. I go back there almost every time I'm in Italy, and they talk about their memories. Some of the people that were close to me then, I still communicate with on a regular basis. I've met their wives, I've met their children, and now their grandchildren, and it's been a lifelong friendship with them. But I'm so grateful because it pulled me out of myself so that I could continue in the rest of my years as a priest to have a worldview, not only as a missionary oblate, but as a citizen of the world, that seeing that there are other points of view, that there are other ways of looking at reality, and that has helped me all along. I was ordained in 1965 in Rome. My parents came, and my younger sister, to my ordination. And on the first Sunday after our ordination, well, my first Sunday afterwards was my first Mass. And then the week after that, a bunch of us from my class and our families went to Roviano, the little village I talked about, where I could have Mass with the people. We concelebrated. That was right after Vatican II, and concelebration had just begun. And I remember the reaction of my family to seeing Roviano. I mean, this was winter, it was cold, there was no heat in the church, and but they put on a little reception for us, and it was just a wonderful experience that they could share then some of the things that I had shared. And my youngest sister still remembers that. My parents, of course, are gone.